That's me. My name's Joja Mukherjee. I'm the Chief Medical Officer of an organization called Partners in Health. I'm not an artist. But I do believe that engagement of art and social justice is at the very heart of humanity. That there will be no beating, there will be no vital flow, there will be no sustainability of our human dignity without art as a force for social justice. So I want to thank you so much for having me here. It's a real different audience than my usual audience. My day job is as a Harvard professor, which is pretty boring. But I'm also the Chief Medical Officer of an organization called Partners in Health. As I said, it's a 25-year-old organization that started in rural Haiti based on the simple premise of standing alongside the poor, in solidarity with the poor, in a community of people who had been displaced by a giant hydroelectric dam that was built to power factories in the city, meanwhile leaving people without their land, without the means of farming and production, and moving up onto a very desolate and barren plain. At Partners in Health, standing alongside the community, we have built a system of human dignity and solidarity by listening and working together with communities. Today around the world, we have 14,000 people who work alongside us at Partners in Health, who are employees of Partners in Health, and I'm happy to say that 85% of them are the rural poor. So our vision is daily informed by active engagement with our partners, with our colleagues, with our friends. And we believe that dignification of the world is our mission. We use health as a lens to do that. But health is only as good as what is academically called social determinants of health, but in real terms, it should be called rights, basic social and economic rights, basic dignity, freedom from want, the same things we occupied Wall Street for jobs, for school, for health, for food, water, and sanitation. If people had that throughout the world, we would not have the more than 35,000 needless deaths every day, here in the United States as well as around the world. Today, Partners in Health is in 10 different countries. And I'm going to talk to you about a different kind of beauty. I feel that we are inundated with images of an idealized notion of kind of Western beauty that is bizarre to me. Being a person that spends less than 25% of my time over the last 13 years in the United States, and more time with rural people in Africa, in Haiti, in Peru, in Mexico, in Guatemala. I'm going to share our vision of beauty with you, because this is where we need that intersection of social justice and health, of social change and art. This is a mural that's going up in a brand new hospital that we're building in Haiti as our contribution to Haiti after the earthquake. And the Haitians have a wonderful saying, which is so simple. And they say, tout moun c'est moun, every person is a person. That means they're not a deportee, they're not a patient, they're not a statistic, they're a person. But what we have to understand in the notion of humanity, the beauty of solidarity is the ugliness of the lack of respect for human dignity. Many people in my field, in medicine, will call that the preventable causes of disease. I don't call them preventable. I call them the oppressive types of disease. Diseases that have their root in oppression, in the lack of social and economic rights, in the lack of basic dignity, lack of food, water and sanitation, lack of proper housing. The diseases I take care of with and for the people I work with are diseases of oppression, not of poverty, of impoverishment, of people who have had their land taken away, who don't have a roof over their head. This man is a man named Joseph Jeune. He presented to our clinic in Haiti in the year 2002 with a disease of oppression, AIDS. AIDS is a disease of oppression. Why? Because Haiti has no jobs in rural Haiti, and to work in rural Haiti, you have to go far from your family, to be separated from your family. You're victim of sexual violence, of sexual predators, or the fact is you're separated from those you love. We see this everywhere in the world. Migration is part of the AIDS epidemic because it is part of oppression, because it is part of apartheid. And this man came back to his home area to die. And I'm sorry I don't have the picture for you. He presented looking like a skeleton. He presented in a way that even as an experienced clinician, I had to avert my eyes. Not only for my own distaste at seeing oppression embodied in this way, but to spare him the indignity of being stared at. But this is Joseph Jeune, only 2 years later, who had become an activist where treatment for HIV saved his life. Why? Because it's a basic right. It saved his life and restored his dignity and allowed him to be part of a movement. Joseph Jeune presented his experience of being an HIV patient and why he got HIV and how he got better to the International AIDS Conference in 2006 in Toronto. He was on the brochure for the World Health Organization as this is what can happen to you when you are afforded a basic human right of treatment, of food, of care. And Joseph Jeune changed the world. Joseph Jeune and people like him, AIDS activists from all over the world, from South Africa, from New York, from San Francisco, from Soweto, from Kampala, Uganda, stood up and said, you know what, we have a right. The treatment for AIDS has been developed on the backs of many tax dollars, on the backs of many guinea pigs, many of whom were gay men living in New York City and San Francisco. And they said, we have a right to that treatment. And not only do we, as affluent Americans, have a right, but poor Americans too. Today, the AIDS epidemic much more likely affects men and women of color who are poor. They have a right to treatment too. Africans, they have a right to treatment too because they are we. And that's the beauty of human solidarity. When I started in the AIDS epidemic, wow, that was quick. This was the map. But a map is nothing like the beauty of solidarity of this man. This is Sam Nomajole, who was inspired by Joseph Jeune, who runs our AIDS project in Malawi. And if he was here, he would say to you, what brings us together as humanity is solidarity, and that no social movement can be successful without art and song and solidarity and love. Thank you.